Hey y'all, it's Shelly and I am Scrappy Longstocking. Today I am at my table to share with you my 2025 Project Life album for the first week in April 2025, and the dates are going to include the 30th of March through the 5th of April because I do my weeks Sunday to Saturday. So far I've got my photos printed out. I haven't cut them apart yet. I just stuck them in the album itself. And then I've got my plan, and I made this a couple of weeks ago when I printed out my photos. But it looks like I'm going to have a couple of photos for each day. And then I have the calendar page to put in. And then on the back of it, I have some, it looks like I have some weather items, and to use this card here because I think this was the week that our power went out on Saturday evening because we had a massive thunderstorm move through with some tornado activity, and it put out a bunch of the electricity all over the city and actually probably all over the county. So I was waiting for a couple of days to go ahead and get the power back on. And so there's a bunch of that, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and put you all on fast forward and do a voiceover. I'm going to get these cut out and then I'll get back on. All right, friends, I went ahead and took the time today to go ahead and pull the pages out of the album because it's starting to get a little bulky, and I'm actually worried that I might not be able to fit all the pages into the album for the first 6 months. And I've only got 2 9x12 albums. And I don't want to buy another one because I don't think I'm going to do any more 9x12 sizes. And I'm definitely not going to do any more 12x12 sizes for sure. I know that for sure and for certain. Next year, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do 8.5x11 and probably stick to that size as my overall page size with some various sizes of inserts because I do like the inserts. So I went ahead and began with this insert in this week's spread because it was the easiest piece to get finished. And I was looking at my plan there to make sure that I picked the right card because I did know that there was another card in the kit or in the page protector that I usually put the pieces that I want to use that was a 4x6 size, and I wanted to make sure that I hadn't come up with some other idea for that before I did it. What I was doing there was looking to see what size this page was compared to the 6x8 page protector because they're not all necessarily 8.25 high. I think this one was almost 8.5 high or tall. And some of the ones I get from Hobby Lobby are 8.5 tall. So I just wanted to see what the size was, and I set it aside. I'm not finished with it, but I set it aside because I knew that the photos were in place how they wanted to be. And this week on pretty much all of my photos, I had to cut them down a second time, which is super frustrating. And it's so frustrating because it's so much additional time that I have to take to do it. So I went ahead and I sped this up to 3.5 times fast forward so it wouldn't take so long, and there's not really much going on. But the photos for Sunday were pretty easy to get in the spots, but then based on the notes on the bottom half of my page, I had trouble trying to figure out which photos went to which days. Like Friday and Saturday were easy, but the week was pretty stormy, and I wasn't sure about the court day, what day of the week was court, and where did I have to go. So I had to actually go to my work phone and look up what county I was in for my court day. And then some of these other photos, with some of the screenshots where the words are on them, sometimes it's hard to see them. But I just decided to place the photos that I knew what they were, like that Friday night, Saturday night. Those are easy. Some of the ones during the weekday, my notes said that I had court on Tuesday. So I went ahead and just put that towards the bottom. I know I always take the screenshot of my steps on Tuesday, even though I think it ends on Monday of the week. So with the QR code down there at the bottom, the QR code was for a video of the thunderstorm that came through on Saturday afternoon, where I just went to my front door and took about 2 minutes of the video for the so that I could hear the thunder and some of the rain and see it, so that I could send it to my mom. She's still in Ohio and I'm here, and we do get some pretty wicked thunderstorms in Ohio as well, but they're not as frequent as they are here. And so I just was sharing it with her, and it ended up uploading to my Prime Photos. So I went ahead and made a QR code of it on the internet and sent it to myself so that I could add it to my album. And so there's nothing private there with that QR code. And I sized it to fit inside of the little square because I wanted the green border around it, just because I think it looks a little bit nicer with the border. I could have sized it, I think that's like a 2-inch square or 1 3/4, but I just decided to size it so that it would fit inside of it with a green border around it. And I like the way that it did turn out. And so, so when anyone is going through my album, they'll be able to see that as well. So there's a couple of more photos from, I think those were from another day of the week, and some of the storm photos on the insert were from Sunday. So, I thought it was fine just to include as many photos of the storm as I wanted to. And then there was some photos. That photo at the top left of the right-hand page was a photo from the rooftop of the parking garage where I work. And so I like to take those photos because you can see the entire cityscape from that. It's only about it's a 7-floor car garage, but I can see over to the top of the 5-story office building that I work in across the street from there. So I know that it's about 6 stories high. And so I can still see most of the entire city from the top there. And a lot of the storms come in from the sort of south, but it's southwest, and they're heading northeast generally. And so I get a really good view of them from my vantage point there. The photo on the bottom right is a photo of me playing solitary unstable unicorn. So I was playing with the single player version. And before the power went out on Saturday morning, I decided to go ahead and print out the printables that came with that online set of rules online. So I printed them out, and then after the power went out, I didn't have much else to do, so I got out my glue stick and some of my paper scraps, and I went ahead and used those to make 3x4 cards so that I could play the solitaire version. And it was pretty fun. It took me about half an hour to figure out how to play the game. But when I finally did get it figured out, I played 4 or 5 rounds, and I won maybe 2/3 of the time. So that was fun. And then there's candles there because the lighting was dim, and the not very good photo on the bottom of my living room. But there was just not a lot of light available. And even though I used my night vision photo setting on my camera, it still didn't come out very well, but I didn't care because that was the point of the photo, is that it was dark and cold and rainy, and it was so very quiet. So I took the photo, and even though it didn't print very well, I decided to go ahead and use it. Let's see. And so right here on my vellum, I'm using, on my vellum title card, I'm using StazOn ink to stamp with my date stamp the dates that are included in this 2 pages. And I use the post-it note so that I don't get the year on there. Most of the time I don't use the year because I think it's just so redundant, because I know it's the 2025 album and there's 52 weeks in a year, so I would be stamping it over 100 times, and I already know that it's the 2025 album, so I just decided to exclude it. So also this day, you see me moving my mouse. I set up my computer so that I could watch, I think I was watching the Golden Girls when I put this together. I've recently started watching the Golden Girls because I needed some laughs in my life, and I had heard it was a good TV show. And some of the clips I saw online were really funny, so I decided to start watching it. So that's what I was watching on, I think it was a Saturday afternoon while I was putting these together, and it was pretty fun. It's a cute little show. And so the photos are in the pockets, and I've done a little bit of the journaling for the bullet point lists on those 2 cards. And so what I did with those was I cut that 4x6 card in half and just made it 2 journaling cards. And I positioned them so the open ends of the white space is towards each other, so it creates a bit of a continuous line. And once I was finished with that, I felt like it was kind of bland and bare. And my initial idea with those circles from the April kit was to cut them in half and use them for some sort of journaling spots. So that's what I decided to do. And I ran to my craft closet, which is still a hot mess after I moved everything around. But I got this pad of dates and days of the week and months that I bought from Hobby Lobby. And I went ahead and initially I was thinking, oh, the gold days of the week would go along with all the gold in this kit. Then I just decided, well, I don't think it'll show up as well. And so I just added the black days of the week to the photos, and I think I got one for each actual day of the week, and just did a tiny little bit of additional journaling for each one. And right there, I was trying to decide how to put a little note on that picture of Artemis, because with the collages there, it's more difficult to add things to the photos because that collage is about 2x3 instead of 3x4. So it would cover up I think these circles ended up being about 1.75 inches or 1.5 inches or something like that. And so they take up a lot of that space. So I didn't want to cover up the entire photo because that, for me, the point of this is to see the photos and then tell the story along with it. And so what I put on these little journaling spots is I go ahead and see, just like if a person was sitting next to me, what would I say to them about that photo? And so that's how I decide each time. And right there, I just use, I think that's a regular Pilot ink pen, and it wrote perfectly fine on that photo paper. So I did a quick test of it, and then it didn't come off. So I went ahead and wrote on my actual photo of Artemis. And the picture is when I'm in the kitchen cooking, she will frequently come over and sit at my feet waiting for me to drop food so that she can nab it and get an extra little snack. And it's so cute. And so I just realized, like, that's the thing that's not always going to happen. So that day I went and grabbed my camera and just took a picture of her sitting there at my feet waiting for me to drop some food so she can have it. And it's just so cute. It was just so cute. And so I just moved on. This is a screenshot of the Google directions to court for, I think it was a Tuesday I had court. And there I was just checking to see if that extra test sheet was dry so that I could put the photos in the pockets. And I gave it just another little while longer before I put that photo that I wrote on in the pocket. But what I was saying before I interrupted myself was that the one half of the photo is the directions from the Google map. And then the other half of the photo is a photo of Artemis when I come home from work. She likes to pet herself on whatever item I have brought with me into the house. And it's kind of funny. So this one that I'm working on here is the Friday photo where my friend Kirby came over and we played Guess Who in the card game version. And then we also went ahead and pulled out the rules for 2-player Unstable Unicorns and played that game. And so I just wrote a quick little note on there. This one was also hard because I didn't want to cover up too much of this photo. And I think eventually I just cover up part of the rooftop so that I can just match up so that both sides of the 2-week layout have the same treatment to a bunch of the photos. So I just covered up the rooftop on that one. And I think that one is a Thursday photo, I want to say. It might be Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. So it's a Thursday photo when I think this week was really rainy for most of the week. And then Saturday, I've already talked about that, but the bottom photo, so the top photo is me playing single player Unstable Unicorns, and the bottom photo is where I rehung my electric fireplace on the wall and put the very large painting above it. And I think in the gap between the two, I'm going to add a mantelpiece of some sort. I just have to figure that out. And eventually I might go ahead and build one in on that wall or on another wall and rearrange the room again. So I just did that on the Saturday because it didn't require appliances and it didn't require any power tools or anything like that. So I could just use a hand screwdriver and go ahead and put it together and just hang it on the wall. So I just got a couple of things done like that after the power went out. And on Wednesday, there's not much to say, or I had put the journaling in the bullet point journaling about this one that says Wednesday. And so I didn't need to add much more. Plus there's not a lot of space on that circle piece, so I decided to just leave it that way, and I thought it was fine. But at least when reading the bullet point journaling, the reader will be able to match up the picture to the journaling for each one of these days. And pretty close to being done. I added those heart stickers because I thought, oh, that'll be cute just to pop on an additional little piece of embellishment. And I think initially I was going to add the word phrase stickers, and then I realized, oh wait, I still have to get this top piece done. And I had this particular piece with the cloud piece in another week, because when I printed out the photos, I realized that this was a rainy week and the Saturday would be on this week instead of the following week. But there was about 2 weeks of rain during this first couple of weeks of April. And so I just decided to grab that and put it at the top of there, and it would mimic front and back. Just looking at that chipboard, I was just trying to use up some of the pieces of the kit, and then thinking about, do I want the word phrase stickers? Did I want to use them? I thought they would probably fit on a couple of the photos, but eventually I decided not to because I already used the half circles and I had the 2 bullet point lists. So I go ahead and just begin to put everything away. Okay, friends, this is done. I think I'm just going to go ahead and call it good. And I looked at it. I turned off the camera for the journaling, looked at it to see if I liked it, and I think it's done. There's nothing missing. This one's really simple. I think it came together in less than an hour. And so here's just the close-up of these, this first page. And then the calendar, I added this piece of vellum so that it would match the card on the back. And then here's the page on the right. There's my step counter. And then a little bit of bullet point journaling for the week. And that's all I have for you on this one today. If you want to tell the algorithm that you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and press like and subscribe, and it will show you more videos like this. And I enjoyed hanging out with you today, and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, and I'll see you around the internet soon. Bye, friends.